All right, you want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days? Yeah, I bet. Who doesn't? You want to do it, and you want it to be extremely easy. Of course. I can do this. I can make this happen. I can even show you. But the reality is, you know you, and I have a feeling I know you too. But anyway, welcome to Walk, Talk, Vent. Let's do this.
Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to watch a video by a YouTuber called Everybody Walks, and it's really a group of YouTubers from everybodywalk.org, which is now americawalks.org. So if you want to check out their website, feel free. I wanted you guys to kind of see a third of what our diet plan is because we've been seeing so many other ones. So I'm going to be quiet and let's listen to what Everybody Walks has to say.
The human body is made to walk. Our bodies function better when we walk. We are healthier in many ways when we walk. There's almost nothing that we can do for our own personal health that creates more benefit than walking. Walking 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, actually reduces the rate of people becoming diabetic by over half. We have an epidemic of diabetes in this country. The number of diabetics has doubled, and people with diabetes now use over 40% of the healthcare dollars spent by Medicare. We could cut the number of new diabetics by more than half if people simply walked that half hour a day, 5 days a week. The benefits of walking are so good that they are hard to believe. We are far less likely to have strokes, heart disease, and hypertension when we walk. Women who walk have a 43% reduction in the risk of stroke. Walking reduces hypertension. The body has over 100,000 miles of blood vessels. Those blood vessels are more supple and healthier when we walk. Walking is clearly what our body is designed to do. We resist disease more effectively when we walk. Walking cuts the risk of chronic conditions, and walking also improves our body's ability to resist cancer and recover from cancer.
I love this video. I want you guys to know that while every plan that we watch has their own pros and their own cons, there is almost no con to walking, right? Everything about walking is awesome. Just know that as you're taking in this video, everything that you do on your walk encompasses what you're about to hear. Check this out.
Women who walk have a 20% lower likelihood of getting breast cancer and a 31% lower risk of getting colon cancer. Men who walk are 2/3 less likely to have a positive biopsy for prostate cancer and a 60% lower risk of colon cancer. Men who do have prostate cancer who walk have a 46% lower mortality rate than men with prostate cancer who don't walk. Women with breast cancer who walk have a 50% reduction in the recurrence rate. Walking in adolescence cuts the risk of breast cancer in postmenopausal women by more than 60%.
So everything I hear, I love. I'm sure you guys like what you're hearing too, but I want you to think about something. When I have the camera on and I'm walking through the neighborhood, you can count the number of people that are walking beside me on one hand, right? Very few people are practicing what they preach, which is walking daily. So you are ahead of the game.
Body needs to walk. We have better internal chemistry when we walk. We are significantly less likely to catch a cold when we walk. And people who walk that 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, have a 46% shorter symptom time for their colds. Walking has shown to reduce the cell deterioration in the brain for people who are genetically at high risk of Alzheimer's. Walking actually increases brain health and the size of the brain for walkers over the age of 60. Walking can have a major positive impact on depression. Several studies have shown that walking 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, has had a more positive impact than some of the antidepressant medications and has significantly increased the effectiveness of those medications.
So a lot of times when we're walking, I'll tell you to go into your think tank. Think about all the problems that are stressing you out, and don't use your walk as a way to avoid those problems, although it is good to do that sometimes, right? Use it as a way to tackle those problems. Come up with a proactive solution. Those little things can also lead to better mental health. It's not just the sun absorption. It's not just smelling fresh air. It's not just seeing the beauty of your neighborhood or enjoying the walk itself. There's something magical about it. Keep walking. Never stop.
People who walked were also significantly less likely to be depressed after a year. Walking creates positive neurochemicals, and it is the easiest health improvement strategy to maintain over time. It doesn't take very much equipment to walk. We don't need to run or jog or swim to get the benefits of walking. The human physiological need to walk is a basic need that we can meet by just walking. Walking strengthens the heart. Walking strengthens our bones. Walking half an hour a day has health benefits that exceed the benefits of losing 20 pounds. In fact, an overweight person who walks can have lower health risk than a thin person who is inert.
The overweight person, such as yourself, such as me, that walks has better health, traditionally speaking, than a skinny, lower weight person that is inert. In other words, if you're skinny and you think you're naturally healthy and you're really doing nothing to attain that skinniness, you're doing yourself a disservice. On the other side, if you're somebody that's 20 pounds heavier than another, if you're walking, more than likely you're in better shape than they are. That's fascinating. Tell us more.
The health risks of being inert are just becoming known, and they are considerable. Lancet Magazine and the National Institute of Health have all endorsed walking as one of the very best things we can each do for ourselves. The Harvard School of Public Health and the Mayo Clinic have saluted the benefits of walking. The medical evidence for walking is huge, and it is growing. The very best news might be that we don't have to walk that 30 minutes every day in one straight period of time. We can break it up and still get full benefits. We can walk 15 minutes twice a day and get the same health benefits. 2 20-minute walks would be optimal for some people. So planning our day around finding those 2 15-minute walk times is a lot easier than having to find time to walk the full 30 minutes in one uninterrupted time slot.
So what I want you to do is figure a way that you can walk a half hour before work even starts. And if you can't do that, then just like the good guy says here, go ahead and plan 15 minutes. Because if we do 15 minutes twice a day, that is so much better than nothing. And it's going to be so beneficial for your heart, your health, your future, and your mind. Body and soul too.
We all need to walk. We owe it to ourselves to walk. We can be healthier and stronger and happier as people when we can walk. There are no magical cures or silver bullets. There is no guarantee that doing any particular thing will work for any given person. But when you look at all of the data about Alzheimer's and stroke and diabetes and depression, and when you look at the reduction in all of those bad things, it's pretty hard for anyone who cares about their own health not to look very hard at how walking can become a major part of what we do. Our bodies really are made to walk, and our bodies need to walk. We are not the strongest creatures on this planet. We aren't the biggest or the fastest, and we aren't the best swimmers. We can't jump very high, and we can't fly at all. But no other living creature walks as well as we do. Walking is our gift. Walking is our strength. Walking makes us strong. So hey, let's walk.
That was the most awesome video. I have chills. Did you know that if you run a mile, you kill about 100 calories, right? Or you burn about 100 calories. If you walk for 20 minutes, in other words, you walk a mile, you're going to burn that same amount of calories. The difference is eventually you'll reach a point in your life where your ankles and knees will have a very difficult time running, and there is potential to go the rest of your life and be able to walk the whole time, right? So with that being said, if you don't mind, go grab your shoes. Let's go for a walk. Guys, I think after watching that video, I think we can all agree that walking is awesome. It's almost as if we were all born to do it. Additionally, if you watch videos on drinking water, they are just as enthusiastic. And don't get me started about videos talking about the benefits of dropping sugar. When we add all three components of our game plan, we come to realize that the only thing that can hold us back is ourselves. But hey, I can do this, you can do this, we can do this, let's do this. Welcome to Walk Talk Vent.
Why am I so happy? Because it's the beginning of my weekend. Why are you so unhappy? Because it's Sunday. It's the end of your weekend. You're getting ready to go back to work already. I want to talk with you about something that occasionally you might hear me say, but you might be wondering what the heck I'm saying. Let's talk about Kaizen because it's super important. We are literally going to be entering our second month. We are no longer new to the game. We already know what we're doing. Hey, there's a walker out here today. Nice. All right, so Kaizen is a powerful Japanese thought that baby steps, no matter how small, will slowly but surely equate to huge, huge growth. Kaizen is the reason the world is where it's today, right? We had the horse, and then we had the car and the bicycle, and now we have the motorcycle and the electric car, right? And we also have airplanes. All these little baby steps that we did have equated to where we are today when it comes to transportation, right? Back in the 1800s, we might not have had a bus, but we probably had an electric trolley, which is kind of interesting. We kind of went backwards when it comes to phones because think about it, we went from the phonograph and from Morse code, right? We probably should have went from that to texting in some way, shape, or form, but we skipped over texting and went to the telephone, and then we went from the telephone to the cordless cell phone, and then that cordless cell phone, we ended up getting texting. But if you really think about it, texting is probably a little bit closer to Morse code than it is the telephone. And if you remember, before we had cell phones, we actually had something called a beeper. Now, people in our age group, God, half of us grew up with beepers on our hips. Now, here's a funny question for you. Looking back, I probably should have just gotten a black or maybe a white colored beeper. But I actually had a purple colored beeper, and if you remember, we all had our own colored beepers, and these things were great. They were only like $4 or $5 a month. Do you guys remember how much we were in love with our beepers? And if you can remember, and if you don't remember, I understand, but if you can remember and tell me what color beeper you had, I had a purple beeper. And it was a really dark purple, almost looked black at certain angles, but yeah, I had a purple colored beeper. Again, looking back now, I probably would have just went for a black colored beeper, right? But we all had colored ones. What color beeper did you have? Please share it in the comments. And did you pay for your beeper yearly? You know, because if you paid for it yearly, it was like $3 a month. So we had these really inexpensive things, and we, on average, I bet the average person's cell phone bill is about, what, $80, maybe $100. We pay more in 1 month for a cell phone than we did for the whole year with a beeper. But anyway, the beeper talk that I'm giving you was solely just to give you an idea, again, of how baby steps have equated to where we are as a people today when it comes to telecommunications, right? We are able to communicate with cordless phones that, let's be honest, we would have saw them as magical just 30 or 40 years ago, right? And they are magical from the standpoint of very few of us can live without our cell phones now. I honestly feel like If you gave us all 6 months to a year, we would learn how to live without our cell phones again, and we would be better for it. Will it ever happen? Of course not. No one's going to take away our cell phones, right? But they do lead to poor health, probably poor mental health and physical health. Anyway, let's convert that talk back to what I'm talking about here. We are going into our second month. We talk a lot about extra credit, but if we want to see something special happen to us here in the next 60 days, we have to at least contemplate stepping it up. So let's kind of take a look at what that would look like. If you've gotten to the point where you've cut down 3 sodas to 2 a day, let's take that next step. Let's cut that down to 1 a day, okay? If you've been walking for a half hour every day for a month like a good soldier, good. Let's go ahead and up that. Even if it's as little as adding a little 8 to 15 minute walk around the block, let's up that intensity just that little bit. And then when we get into our third month, we'll think about upping it even more, okay? So let's baby step that. Now, if you're willing to add a couple more minutes to your walk to up it, right? Then I also want you to think about upping other things in your life. The other day, we talked about what you can do if you have a little bit of extra money in your bank account. Maybe this is the weekend where you give Bank of America or Chase Bank a phone call and you say, hey, I would like to come in and talk to a rep about opening a CD. Maybe this is where you take that extra step with your financial life. Again, just a tiny little baby step. You don't have to move over your whole savings or whole checking account, but see if you have a couple dollars to maybe go set into a CD. CDs are basically safe. You're not going to lose your money on them. And again, not a financial guru. You don't have to do anything with your money. I'd rather have you do physical steps, but if getting your money in a good spot is good for your mental health, that'll lead to good things on the physical side, in my opinion. Okay? Let's take a look at water. You've been cutting down your sweet drink consumption and you've been drinking more water. Do you think we could take that up a notch? Your breakfast. You've been waking up and eating oatmeal like a good soldier should, right? Maybe it's time to start having that oatmeal come after our walk rather than before. Do you think you can be strong enough to wake up and just ignore that pain that you have from wanting to eat, right? Do you think you can ignore it till you're just done with your walk? Just a simple half hour. And then what I want you to do is as you come back from your walk in the morning, I want you to start asking yourself, am I hungry? If you are, eat. This is not a starvation plan by any means. But if you come back from your walk and you've realized you're no longer really thinking about eating, see if you can prolong that breakfast. See if you can make it where instead of eating your breakfast at 6:30 in the morning or 7:30, let's see if you can just prolong it till 8:30 or 9:30. And if by some chance you've reached that magical moment where you're sick of oatmeal or sick of Cheerios and you're not hungry at all, maybe we start making today that one day a week where you just skip breakfast, okay? Again, I'm not into intermittent fasting. I'm asking you to skip breakfast if you don't feel hungry. If you do feel hungry, don't fight it and try to hurt yourself. Just eat, you know? So yeah, baby steps, guys. These things are really explosive. When I was first trying to do this plan, I already had walking in place. Walking is the fun, easy part for me, right? What I slowly but surely started doing was I started cutting out milk and drinking just water. I'm not going to cut out milk this go round because I already know that I can continuously lose weight without dropping milk. And if you enjoy drinking milk too, or your almond milk, I don't think there's any need to stop. The main thing with almond milk is don't trick yourself into thinking vanilla is just regular milk. There's no regular milk in the world that tastes like vanilla, at least none that I know of. So make sure that if you are drinking vanilla almond milk, cut that down to just regular, non-flavored wannabe milk that vanilla milk is or that that the almond milk is supposed to taste like. So guys, super important. If we don't up the intensity, then we're not necessarily going to be where we want to be after 90 days. And it's not that what we're doing already isn't going to work. It is. It's just if you really want to keep getting stronger with your workouts, the key is the baby steps, right? So what you don't want to do is you don't want to say, hey, I've been walking for a month with Jesse. It's time to ditch the walking and go to running. If running's in your future and running was in your past, okay, maybe you're ready to start jogging, right? But if you've never jogged in your life, just stick with walking, okay? It is better to increase your half-hour walk each day by 15 or 20 minutes than to start trying to become a marathon runner, okay? And again, if you don't care what I say there and you're going to be a marathon runner anyway, good for you. Push it, keep going, get a little bit better each day, right? Jog a half a mile the first day, and by month number 2, get to the point where you're jogging 1.5 miles a day or 2 miles, however you want to work your way up. Just do it in a safe way. And if you're thinking about starting jogging or running routines, make sure you consult your doctor. Make sure you have him take a look at your ankle, knees, hips, and all your joints, right? To make sure that you have optimal joint health, okay? I know that there's a lot of things that you can buy on TV, right? They have these over-the-counter drugs and herbs and stuff for your joint health. I really don't know if those actually work, There's a reason why a lot of these over-the-counter stuff have those little, have you ever seen the little disclaimer at the bottom? It literally tells you the opposite of what the commercial tells you. The commercial will tell you, hey, by taking this supplement, your knees and joints and stuff are going to be in optimal health. And then right along the bottom of the screen in little tiny words, it says the FDA has not approved this. This product is not meant to cure or treat anything. Guys, if that doesn't tell you that the product probably doesn't work, I don't know what will, Whenever commercials are forced to write that little disclaimer, it's not because the FDA is a bad guy that won't let them, peddle their stuff. It's just the truth. That stuff isn't really proven to work at all. Now, here's the thing you got to remember, though, when I say that, the mind is a very powerful thing. If you're taking supplements, if you're taking this, that, and the other, and you feel like they're helping you, they probably are in that case, right? Because our brain thinks they are. If you're doing push-ups and sit-ups, right? I don't know if you guys started doing this, but a couple weeks ago I told you, if you're going to start doing push-ups and sit-ups, start off at 1 or 2 or 3 a day. By the end of the week, try to see if you can get up to 4 or 5 a day, right? And by now, if you're still doing push-ups and sit-ups, see if you can get up to the point where you can do about 15 or 20 a day. The cool thing about push-ups is you don't really need more than 25 a day, right? So if you're sitting there thinking, hey, I want to start doing 100 or 200 push-ups a day, that's great when you're a teenager or in your early 20s and you want to become a calisthenic legend. But at this point in the game, if you're middle-aged like I am, it's not really necessary, Now, don't get me wrong, if my game plan was to take off my shirt, for the summer and for the swimming pool, then that might be a different goal, right? You might say, hey, I want to do X amount of push-ups every day so I look ripped or so I look fit and trim. But, I don't know, that's not really important to me anymore. I think right now, the most important thing for me is I want to make sure that both you and I are on pace to lose that 30 pounds. And I think if you're taking this seriously and you pump in the Kaizen, I think we're going to lose 35 pounds. So just want to let you guys know that when I say little goals for us to do, it's one of those things where I'm actually anticipating that we're going to smash those goals, okay? So look up the word Kaizen, Kaizen, right? And let's see how we can baby step our way into explosive growth, okay? What are your plans for this Sunday? Are you going to go on a nice walk? Are you thinking about meeting up with the family for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? If you're meeting up with the family for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, there's two trains of thought. You can let them know how you're in this great walking routine, and if they're supportive for you, by all means, let them know. But if they're not so supportive, just wait till you finish your 90 days. Then let them know, hey, I'm doing this 90-day challenge again, right? I already started it. If people are noticing that you have a little bit of a tan, let them know that you've been walking outside. That's a benefit of going outside, right? We get our pasty white skin a little bit of sun, right? And if you already have a natural tan, right, because maybe your parents blessed you with genes where you already have a beautiful tan skin, then go out and get even darker. Get even darker. Have you started noticing walkers in your neighborhood? Do you notice what I notice, that when you're walking, you're like the only one out here usually, right? As a matter of fact, when you're the only one out here, that's what makes it easier for you to spot fellow walkers, right? You can't help but notice that they're out when it's just you every day looking. Those fellow walkers, if you see them, that means that you're probably, hi, good morning. That means that you're probably also seeing the occasional shady character. If you don't have any shady characters in your neighborhood, that's awesome. But if you do, now they know that you're seeing them, okay? That goes back to what we were talking about before, that if every neighborhood had a half dozen to a dozen people walking at all different hours of the day and night, we'd live in safer neighborhoods, wouldn't we? We'd live in neighborhoods that the thief would have to think twice about. Make sure that if you see somebody messing with your neighbor's car, go develop good rapport with your neighbors. Let them know, okay? That's what's so cool about being a walker. Pretty soon you have people from the neighborhood that just naturally wave to you hi all the time. Sometimes you guys don't see it, but I get a lot of people that wave hello to me. Now, I don't think that's because they think I'm some professional cameraman. I think it's just because when you see a guy walking every day, pretty soon you get used to seeing him walking every day and you want to say hi to him. If you have fellow walkers in your neighborhood, say hi to them. They might be going through a lot of similar things that you are. You know why a lot of people walk? Because they're trying to recover from cancer, like Stacy, right? A lot of people walk because they just had that horrible talk with their doctor that if they don't get their steps up and don't get their health in gear, then, they're not going to be living very long. Not everybody is walking because they just decided to take control of their health. Some people are walking because they've already been told the bad news, okay? You and I have an advantage here in the fact that at least not all of you have heard that bad news, okay? Some of you guys are dealing with physical disabilities that might make it more challenging for you to walk. If you are fighting the good fight with me, battling through your disability or your ailment, and you're out here walking, I want you to know that I am incredibly proud and impressed with you. When I go out and walk, right, it's because I've recovered from my surgery and I feel perfect right now. But I know that when you have an ailment or a disability, sometimes it makes walking darn near impossible. When that happens for you, don't get depressed. Don't fall back into old bad habits. That's where you want to really take advantage of the 2/3 rule. Remember what Meatloaf says. Don't be sad, 'cause 2 out of 3 isn't bad. I hate that song. I know Meatloaf died recently, like in the past couple years, and I don't hate that song. But I never listened to his songs and thought, God, this guy's the greatest. But I know some of you guys love Meatloaf, so you can always remember his 2 out of 3 isn't bad song, because that's really important. If I were to have the situation that I did November, where I had to go into surgery, if I already had this channel with you guys, I probably still would have gotten a little blue and down, because nobody wants to not be able to walk really for a month or two, right? But at the same time, I would have been, at least with you guys behind me, I would have been a little bit stronger at the 2/3 rule. Is the 2/3 rule something we can find ourselves ditching in life? Of course. But in the future, I want you guys to remember this. You now do have the game plan. If you ever fall off your diet and exercise plan again, you simply get to walking. And once you get to walking, you baby step that water back in your life. Okay, Jesse, now I'm walking and I'm baby stepping that water. Okay, now you baby step that sugar out of your life. Okay, that's the thing. ABC 1, 2, 3. And once you get into the walking, drinking water, and avoiding sugar, that's when you just apply baby steps. So even if there's a situation in the future where for whatever reason you have to stop doing your workout, or maybe you get cocky and you start thinking, I can handle sugar, right? I can do this and that. And you end up falling off or falling away from your routine. Just watch a little walk, talk, vent, and let's get right back into it. Remember what the game plan is. When we're done with day 90, we're gonna reset that number back to 0, and we're gonna do another 90. We're gonna make our season what we want it to be, okay? And we're gonna start predicting our future by putting ourselves in spots where we can make that future happen. We're gonna start proactively planning our futures together, okay? Our future is gonna include walking more than ever, drinking water more religiously, avoiding sugar to a higher degree, right? And remember, some people will tell you that all sugars are bad. If you believe that and you want to ditch all sugars, you can. But again, if you want to eat fruit for the rest of your life, I'm cool with that. I think you should go that route. I think that's a little bit more doable and a little bit more enjoyable than just cutting everything out, okay? If you want to occasionally have something sweet, and you want it to be more than a banana, but you want it to be less than a cake, so to speak, they do sell pies that are sugar-free. Don't get the sugar-free ones that are flavored with sweet artificial sweeteners, because sometimes those things can taste super sweet, and before you know it, you're craving sweets again. Remember, that's the ultimate problem with artificial sweeteners. Are they themselves bad? Probably not, right? Are the foods that they flavor probably bad? Probably not, okay? But they do get you craving sweets again. Imagine if every day you had a stevia flavored brownie or a stevia flavored pastry, right? One of these days you're gonna forget to buy your stevia or your pastry that's flavored with stevia, right? And you're gonna end up reaching for a regular candy bar or something. And when we do that, we can get right back into the same bad habits that we are now. Another thing that I think you should really contemplate, if you can, is ask yourself, am I thoroughly addicted to coffee? Your hero Jesse here, I have never drinking coffee in my life. So we're talking about most people in life have this Starbucks or this coffee addiction that costs them way more than coffee should. When I was growing up in the 80s, there weren't really Starbucks and places like that. There was Dunkin' Donuts and Winchell's, right, where you might be able to get a coffee, or Circle K. But it wasn't these flavored addictive drinks that Starbucks sells, right? So a lot of times people, when I was growing up, would drink Folgers or Sanka, you know, automatic coffee that you've probably never tasted in your life, right? Because you like Starbucks or Tim Hortons or whatever the case might be, right? So I would really urge you to see if you can quit coffee. That might be that next step in your life. Or if you're not ready or not ever going to quit the coffee, because some of us aren't ever going to quit coffee, instead of me trying to force you to quit, see if you can lower the sugar in it, right? Instead of getting 2 creams and 4 sugars, see if you can be happy with, you know, half a little packet of sugar. Next time you go out for your sweet tea that you get from QT every morning or from McDonald's, see if you can get half and half. Get yourself a sweet tea that's half unsweetened and see if you can get used to that mellow flavor. I used to drink tea every day, and the last week or two before I started this, I went from sweet tea to semi-sweet tea to very dull sweet tea to unsweetened sweet tea. And unsweetened tea is kind of like oatmeal. After a while, you're like, well, I might as well just drink water, you know? And again, if you're starting to feel like drinking water and avoiding sugar is a punishment that's just not that fun, you know, you might be one of these people that wants to do the 2/3 rule forever. If your doctor's cool with it, if you're not in bad health by any means, you know, do what you want to do. But with that being said, I want to wish you guys the happiest of Sundays, and we'll talk soon. And to my viewers in Sweden, Australia, and Canada, hi, how are you?